Okay, good. So, 2024 Belgian Beer Seminar. Welcome, everybody. Back to revision. Let's see, as always, who do we have here? First-time beer seminar people still exist? Oh, my. Okay, welcome. Oké, je moet binnen rondtelen trouwens, die eerste. Hè. Dat mag komen. If we speak Belgian, it's our secret code language, which basically says bring beer out, which is what we'll do. Dat paasde gewoon. So, the regular disclaimer, beers you might taste might not be considered by the European Food Safety Authority for various reasons, which you will find out. And for people that are not familiar with me, I am FRaNKy from the Royal Belgian Beer Squadron, Accession Padua and Baas. I tend to work as a project manager in network infrastructure, and I also sell retro cables tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon at the info desk if you need something for your C64 or your Nintendo or your Mega Drive. If you follow Untapped, you can find me as FRaNKy RBBS. If you add me as a friend, please let me know, because if Johan Johansson sends me a request, I have no idea who the fuck you are. So, that's that. The entrance music, by the way, is by the Juggernauts, an EBM band, started in 2010 with DJ Borg and Radical G behind the keys. They have a thing with Soviet motor helmets and running around in abandoned buildings. As you need to do with EBM music while you're singing about the derelict status of society in a post-industrial apocalyptic world. Their Bandcamp is fine, they have vinyl, they sell. If you want to annoy your neighbors with a good subwoofer, I can really do this. All right. So let's recap Belgium, because we have quite a lot of new people here. So Belgium is a federal country, split up in regions and communities. They all have its own government and none outranks the others, which means that in reality, you cannot get anything done. In reality, can you get anything done? Never? Lovely. Stable as in a stable of mad cows? Yes. The thing is that to explain the Belgian compromise is that you make a compromise where you're not happy, but you're convinced that the other is more unhappy than you. And that's why we cannot have any nice things, which is also why we run away in alcoholism, and therefore the beer. If the people in the back can also bring out the second one. Yes, Swift is Belgian. I actually did a job interview for Swift once, and I stopped it. Because they were doing their IT infrastructure agile, which meant that they were migrating their storage pools before the IP address. And then I said, I don't think this place is for me. It was a swift end to the conversation. So, there's three regions, a Flemish region, a Walloon region, and a Brussels capital region. And it's on the Brussels capital region that today we are going to focus again. We have done the Brussels conundrum a few years ago. We have done an online of Brussels in the first pandemic episode, where we didn't have beers. We had a second one with beer boxes, but here we're now looking again. And then, like, if you look at this, you see, okay, I sure, like, if you ask the Google, like, show me Brussels, it'll show you this. Show you this. Okay, so this is Brussels, which is not. So this dude says it's wrong. Because Brussels is, and these are all individual cities with their own mayor, their own police force, their own trash system, their own water company. This is a Belgian compromise on its own. And then for the location where we are now going to look for is the Seine Valley. The Seine or the Seine is a river which is nice and clean on the south of Brussels, and when it exits by the north, it's a sewer. So while it's still good, there is, in this water, there live natural yeast bacteria, natural yeast cells. Yeast is not a bacteria, natural yeast cells that fly around over the water. And the breweries are next to the water. They open the windows, the wind flies in with all the dust and the spiders and the birds. It's extra protein for the beer if it falls in. And the water, the beer ingredients start bubbling. And there you get naturally fermented beer, and that is where we are going to focus on mostly today. So the first brewery that we're going to see is Tilquin. And Tilquin is not even a brewery. It's a blendery, which means that it buys beers from different breweries, it mixes it together in barrels, waits 5 years, and then sells it. And what they do here at Tilquin is that they make fruit beers, quite a lot of them. And number 1 and number 2 were 2 of their fruit beers. The first one is the Tilquin Mirabelle. Pretty low alcohol, and it is fermented 4 months with an 80% of old Maerts. Maerts means March. It's a spring beer that they do. And then a difference of 2-year-old Lambics. Lambics is the beer that you get with the natural fermentation. It's called a Lambic. So that was number 1 with Mirabelle. It's like a small yellow berry. And the second one is a Tilquin RL. RL'en are small red berries. Same procedure as the first one. You throw fruit in the beer, you ferment it a few times, it re-ferments in the bottle. They all come with this nice little mesh cap and a cork in it to give you a feeling of supreme quality, that you're really getting, good value for your money. Nummer 3 mag gerust naar buiten komen. So there is some naming conventions. As I said, nature and the ingredients, that's where you get your lambic beer. And if you mix those lambics together, you get a beer called Geuze. Unless if you add fruit to the lambics, that's where your fruit beers come from. If anybody grew up with the Suskind and Whiskey strips, or Bob and Bobette, or whatever they were called, in your localized area, there was a character of Lambic, and this character is named after the beer. The beer itself goes back to the 1300s, 1400s. If you look at all the old monasteries and the textbooks, you will find that they were making this Lambic beer very low alcohol, but because it's safer to drink than the natural water from the river or your water pit, people were drinking this instead of water. How's number 3? Any good? Surprisingly good? Okay. Okay, well, they're surprisingly bad as well, just making sure what it is. No, but it can be pretty sweet. Unless, like, you know, a bee flew in and then you know, did the jiggity jiggity, and then you have honey beer. 4 and 5 you can just follow. It's from the same brewery, so we are keeping it together. So the next, you've had one beer from Erlenbos already. There's 2 more coming. So Erlenbos itself begins in the late 19th century, so like the 1880s, 1890s, in Schepdaal, which is in the area southeast of Brussels. Most of these breweries are small family businesses. You would have every village would have their own little brewery with their name. Many of them, after a few generations, would die out. Some would get bought out, or would merge or whatever. It goes up and down. And such here with the families of Erlenbos, which is just a name, and was the second one Valkeniers, I think, and Valkeniers. They did this for about 100 years. And in the mid-70s, they sold it to the Whitbread Group in the mid-70s. Why? Because all the Geuze, all the Lambic went out of fashion. In the 70s, you would have the heavier beers come in again. You would have the resurrection of all the Abbey beers, of all the Trappists that would come in. And then these like lower beers, also made for larger consumption, they would go away. Also, totally coincidental with alcohol limitations in traffic, which would come in the 1970s. So the drinking went from a lot of low alcohol to a bit of higher alcohol, which is where all the Abbey beers and the stuff came in. Bier, alstublieft. Number 4. So, Whitbread itself sold it to Morsebit, which was then part of Alkenmaas. And in 91, they basically closed down. Nobody wanted the beer anymore. And then it took more or less close to 30 years to start up again. The problem, well, the reality is that you need a few years to make your lambics, to make your geuze. It has to ripen in barrels. So they made a series of beer, Patience for Erlenbos, actually in French, Patience. And this was beer number 3. It was made by Erlenbos while they made the lambic, they put it in barrels, and you have to wait for a few years before you can sell it. So they made a few beers. One of this was this special blonde one, which was beer number 3. 6.5 alcohol, and it was just made to get some cash going, to get the money going. They did crowdfunding actions to get the entire lambic and the new geuze going again. So then they made this one in more or less, 2019, 2020 is when they restarted with this one. Where are we with number 4? Everybody had number 4? Number 4, okay. They also did this pale ale. Same principle. Again, Patience for Erlenbos, having the pale ale out, putting it on the market, getting some cash revenue going so that they could keep on producing the lambics in the barrels and take it from there. Any questions so far? Hang on, there's a microphone. The microphone is not on, so I will repeat the question. Did they sell aged beer? No, they had nothing. So they started from scratch. Yes and no. The microphone is still working, but I will repeat the question. So no, they are not selling aged beer at the moment. If you have number 5 and I hit the next slide, it'll be clear. Any other, sir, here in the front?
Why is this so different than unforgettable? Like it's more bitter, slightly less hoppy feeling.
Does it work though?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Why is this different than other non-Belgian pale ales?
Because Belgian is just better.
Well, of course it is, but I mean, I meant more mechanically.
Okay, wait, reality, what? What? What, no? Okay. Ow. Yeah, no, it's what they do, and a pale ale is a name, but it's not a fixed ingredient list. So you can add different hops, you can do different spices, you can do different you can do different water, or the minerals that do the taste. So there. Thank you. Number 5 is out. Nope. Okay, I'll wait for number 5. So while number 5 comes out, any further questions? All right, let's wait for number 5. So, to answer the question, have they already sold aged beer? Yes and no. So this is the Oude Geuze Prematuurke. So it is born too early. So it's from their second batch, and it has not gone through the full aging cycle. So it's like half a Geuze. So this is number 5. And as you see on the bottle, you will see 2021. That's when it's brewed, but it came on the market in this year. So normally it's in barrels for 5 years. They bottle this after 3. Hence it's prematurely. TMC, there's a question by the back. Yeah, just press on the microphone.
Hey, so just to get this straight, so they restarted in 2019, you said, but to restart the selling, they started earlier, right?
So they started in 2019.
Okay.
And then they made the blonde and the pale ale, which you had before this,
Which doesn't need
to keep going, while
okay.
while the lambic was in the barrels.
So basically, in a few years, we should get the aged one because it takes 5 years.
In like 2 to 3 years, you will get the aged one.
Okay,
So you can then also find brewing year 21, but fully aged. Yes.
I get it. Okay, thanks.
You'll have to come back. Second row. In the front, TMC, in the front, second row, white t-shirt.
Just a general question. To what food would you drink a Geuze? Or is it single without any food, or would the Belgians eat something specific to it?
I'm not into beer and food pairing myself, so I can't really tell. Most of these, you have to see which Geuze, because you have sweet ones, tart ones, sour ones, and it would be like, you cannot go with one food thing. It depends on which kind of Geuze it is. So if it's a really sour one, that it will affect what you pair with it. So the answer is that there isn't one. All right. Number 6 and number 7 are welcome to come out. What? Sorry, TMC. Reality was. Oh, you go.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So, what is the oldest time that the beer can be kept in? For how long can a beer be brewed for? What's the longest that it
Legally 20 years.
20 like. So if it will go beyond 20 years, it's not legal.
Well, if you look on many of these bottles, you will, to find out which date it was put in the bottle,
Yeah.
you have to look at the date on the bottle, you have to drink it. It's 20 years. It's a maximum that's allowed by law. But you can keep it longer.
Ah, okay.
Specifically, the sour ones, you can keep indefinitely.
So they can go for hundreds of years, but they will.
Theoretically, yeah, although nobody has done that.
Okay. Okay.
But you can easily keep it for 5 years, 10 years. I have bottles of Mariage Parfait, which are now 15 years old. Like, you can keep it. Contrary to like Orval, it doesn't change all that much. Like an Orval will keep changing its taste 5 years, and it won't go bad, but it'll level off. Because then really all the molecules have been transferred into something else. I cleaned out my beer cabinet at home. I found 6 bottles of 10-year-old Orval. I'm keeping them because, But I try to keep my Orval 2 or 3 years. So we had already a difference in like terminology. We have a brouwerij and a stekerij. The brouwerij is the brewery, and the stekerij is like the blender, the mixer. They buy their beers from the brewery and they do their own mix. They will add fruit to it. It can re-ferment. And to come back again to the spontaneous fermentation. So it's not controlled by the brewer. You literally just open the windows, the yeast flies in, and it starts doing, it works. It's work, and it can take a few weeks before it starts. So you have to be patient and just wait. Now, if you want to try this yourself, the yeast has been isolated. You can buy it from yeast banks, and you can try to make your own lambic, even if you don't live near the river in Brussels. A quick check to the folks in the back. Where are we on the next numbers, on 6 and 7? So 6 has been distributed? Okay, good. It should be in your tummy. So we are now going to have a look at Oud-Beersel. Again, a bit of the same story. The family business is about to disappear, and then a local businessman, a local family member starts it up again. They basically buy the name, they buy the tradition, and you end up with an old name in a new form factor. It's some kind of recycled, merci. So number 6 that you had is the Bersalis Cadet. It's made by Oud-Beersel. This is, as such, not a lambic, but another beer that they make. And what's special here is that they keep it light and refreshing to make it taste like a triple, but it's not. It has a much lower alcohol. It has 4% alcohol, but it still feels like a heavy blonde beer. According to the marketing, the noble taste of barley malt is crowned with fruity touches and a hoppy character, described as a low alcohol triple on the label. Who found beer number 6 to be crowned with fruity touches and a hoppy character? So, fruit yes, hop no.
And it also has what feels like honey.
And again, the honey taste. So it's the bees, man. Totally. Yes, they are. We have some serious bees. Yeah. We got beer bees. Reality, stop eyeing me. Come on. What? Okay, TMC, can you give the microphone to reality? They want to say something. I feel it. Come on. I don't want to like reverse heckle you, but like you're commenting all the time. Come on. The microphone is suddenly switched off. I cannot hear you. Try again.
Does this work? Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
it does.
Yeah, you're lovely. This is great.
It's great. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is 6. So this 6, they said it tastes like the triple. Luckily, they make a triple as well, which is number 7. And this comes into the 9.5% area where you would expect all your triples to be left and right. Okay, in the microphone, please, for the stream.
How is this 9.5%? It's really light.
Fermentation.
Then why does it feel light? Like I've had 9%
because
beers.
there's so much else around it that you don't feel or taste the alcohol.
Impressive.
Or maybe the guy switched the beers around in the back. That can also be. Hey. TMC, can you give the microphone to the Dutch person with the hat, because I hear them commenting all the time and I want to hear what they say.
Okay.
Hi again.
Hello.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Delirium Tremens, which is completely different beer, but maybe I'm already drunk.
It is compared, like, maybe you do feel the alcohol, while my friend over there in the second row does not. Okay.
Maybe I can ask a decent question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first 2 beers and the 4th beer, I think,
Yeah.
they have this distinct taste, like an oude geusboon.
Yes.
And the fifth, the first 2 and the 5th.
Yeah.
What gives it that distinct taste? That soury, freshy. I don't know. The first time I had a beer like that, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And then I kind of learned how to drink it, or just I pushed through,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But it's so distinct from any other beer.
Yeah, because sour beers are an acquired taste.
Yeah, but not even like all the bullshit sours you get now, like the milkshake and I don't know. They put everything in a sour nowadays. But those
Look,
Those sours?
I'm already happy that we're no longer drinking quad IPAs from jars. Okay, I'm happy that that's behind us.
I think that at least they do a very special thing that nobody else does.
Yeah, well,
That's the wild yeast flying in.
No, it really is. Yeah.
acht. All right, cool. So, we talked about food pairing for a moment, and I do want to talk about the mussels. Because you can put beer in the mussels when you cook them. And then when you're talking about the mussels from Brussels, you know, we have our friend Jean-Claude. And he's called Van Damme, but like his real name is Van Varenberg, which doesn't sound sexy at all. And although his parents are Flemish, he became a Francophone traitor. And if you want to have a look at him, they basically, if you played Mortal Kombat, they based the Johnny Cage character on him. That was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he was too expensive. So they made Johnny Cage. And then in the end, they did give him the role of Guile in the Street Fighter movie. Who has seen that train wreck of a movie? Yeah. Do you know? Okay. So do you know why this movie is a train wreck? Do you know how much he was coked up? Yeah, $10,000 a week worth of coke he was doing. He was doing, like, you know, he was working out and snorting. So, mind you, that movie was released in '94, so $10K then is $20K now to compare with it. And for all your crypto bros, this is the Bitcoin rate. Now, if you do watch the Street Fighter movie, at least watch it for Gomez Adams. That's his last movie, by the way. And he made it for his kids because he had no idea what Street Fighter was. And his kids said, dude, you gotta do Street Fighter the movie because it's Street Fighter. And then you end up facing the Belgian cokehead, so that's totally awesome. He was the only good part of that, right? Well, Kylie Minogue. All right, so are we on number 8, number 9? Okay, so we have 8. Good. All righty. Yes, merci. Komt goed. So, there's a system. I can hear the system working. Like, everybody's becoming more jolly. There's a question by the window.
Is this normal that you use like 5 times the amount of hops compared to barley and wheat? I mean, is this normal? How you do beer? I don't know. But it just sounds like way too much hops. 750 hops on 150 wheat and 300 barley.
Yes.
This is normal. It's not just some weirdness.
In 1834, this was normal.
Okay, come on, tell me now. So when you look at those shitty, as you say, non-Belgian beers, like regular stuff of the shelf, do they use the same ratios? That's my question.
No, like even the beers from today and the beers from 20 years ago are completely different. So, and these are beers from 100 years ago. So it is, so taste changes, market changes. These are, in the 1830s, you are making beer for your local village. Like if you're lucky, you're exporting to the next city. So maybe the locals like that beer and they continue, and nobody else cares because they don't know you exist. In 1834, there was barely, one steam train going on the entire European continent. It's the only thing that the British did better than the rest of Europe, which was they had steam trains earlier. What? So, Timmermans as well goes back to the 1800s, different name, different family. They made beers with weird amounts of ingredients, and it continues down again, same stuff. But also good to know is that these beers were not sold in bottles. You would buy them in kegs for the bars, or you took one big keg at home and you drank it during the day, because you would drink beer and not water. The water was not tap water, it was not clean. You would get shit explosions if you drank the water from your creek. So everybody drank beer because that was boiled and therefore cleaner than your regular water. It's only with the Industrial Revolution after that the city water, the tap water came in, and even then. So people were drinking lots of beer, very low alcohol, but it was brewed and therefore no more full of bacteria, and that's what they had. So number 8 was done. Kakker? People in the back? Tolle? I think my crew has abandoned me. Any questions? Number 4, Erlenbosch Pale Ale. That's a long time ago. You never got my, well, okay, so maybe there is Eklushke left. We shall now teach you the word of Eklushke. Eklushke is like the little leftover in the bottom of the bottle. Eklushke. Number 7, Bersaris Triple. Okay. I could, but then we would run out of beer. So, who had number 8 is out, number 9 is out. So, okay, met 10 even wachten. So, you had number 8 and number 9. So, number 8 is Oude Geuze from Timmermans. Young and old lambics, 1 and 3 years in the barrel. So a Geuze, you put your lambic in barrels, some for 1 year, some for 3 years, some for 5 years, and you mix them together like a blend. And then this is what you get: an Oude Geuze in a mix of 1-year-old and 3-year-olds. So mixing 1-year-old and 3-year-olds for Belgium is talking about children's in basement. So we have to watch out what we do with, explaining that we are mixing a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. Yeah, 4 years old is borderline. Yeah, but they speak French. It's like the English. They're like a minority. Don't look so cross. Come on. So, and then you had the Oude Kriek. And if you look at, we had it over the amounts of ingredients. And so you have 400 grams of cherries per liter goes into this beer. And because it's so much cherry, it's pretty tart, it's pretty sour. Is everybody done with 8 and 9? Cool. Then number 10, please. Now this is something special, and I will not drink it. And when you have it, I wanna have you taste it, and you're gonna let me know what it is. Leffe Blond? No. Sorry? No, it's not Barbar. No. Yeah. I hate stouts. So, did everybody get number 10 already? No, in the back they're still going? Good. Did the person who didn't get number 4 get number 10? Yes, I see you drinking the cup. So, somewhere close. This is an unholy mix of lambic and stout. And stout should be forbidden. I hate stouts. It's not, it's stout. No, I'm an arrogant bastard. I'm opinionated. Wait, stouts, reality, stouts. That's what? Hey, what? You want to take this over? What? Come on, no. Oh, wait, let me just, okay, how about, really?
Yeah. Oh, well. Right. Welcome to the British Seminar 2024, the Brussels edition. So what even is goose? Well, FRaNKy talked a lot about goose, which was really, really good, all joking about. But goose is a type of lambic that is normally made by blending young 1-2 and old 3-4 lambics, which is then bottled for a secondary fermentation. It is generally protected under the EU, i.e. traditionals, especially guaranteed. This means goose can't be called goose outside the something region of Belgium, which is the Brussels.
Talk like this.
Yes, the Brussels region. So you'll be handed this in a second, which is beer number 11. And beer number 11 is not from Belgium. So, yeah. So this is a goose, because you can't call it goose, from England. And it is an old brewery, has a cool ship, because all beer at one point was made like lambic, but hasn't. So they still had one. And then this young blendery decided, well, they wanted to make lambic in England. So this is their first proper goose, and it's a blend of 1, 2, and 3 golden ales from 2019, 2020, 22, 21, 21, and 22. So yeah, that's what you're getting now. So we'll see if England can make a lambic or not. Yes, question. A cool ship is this thing, which is a open vessel, and as FRaNKy said, you would leave the windows open, and the yeast in the air would inoculate the wort, and that would start the fermentation process, and then you would put it into barrels, and then over time it would ferment and do its thing, which typically would take about a year for the first, and then it's still quite young at that point, so you've still got a lot of fermentable sugars. So when you blend it with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, the sugars in the 2-3-year-old have gone, but they're still left over. So when you then put it into a bottle, it re-ferments in the bottle. Yeah, so this is called Mackerel Skies. It's 6.3%, and it's by Crossover Blendery, which is I think they only started in 2019, so it's a very new blendery. It's not a brewery. Why mackerel? I don't actually know. So how are we on this? We're nearly done. Good. So yeah, this is. Why did I participate in the seminar? No, I meant why did I have all those beers before doing this? Anyway, fruit. Fruit is a thing that is natural, and it's often added to Belgian beer, especially lambic beers, as FRaNKy has talked about. Yeah, the next beer we'll be having after the one you've had is Burning Sky Elderberry Monolith. So this isn't a lambic, it's more a wild ale. The difference is this will have been brewed using yeast, but then it's been left in a barrel that's either got natural yeast left and other things, so it sort of has multiple different types of fermentation. So that's what a wild ale is, but it's very similar to lambic and that kind of style beer from Belgium. And Monolith was, the original Monolith was one of the first beers I ever did in a seminar. And this is an elderberry one, so this has been aged on elderberries, which are, if you've ever had like elderflower cordial, they're the berries from that. And this will also have an earthy sort of bergamot taste to it as well. So this is quite like a wine. Often lambics and Belgian beers are described as the wine of beer. Any questions while I... Yes, FRaNKy.
Okay, so when they said, your mother reeks of elderberries, is this what they were talking about?
I really don't know. I don't know how this smells, so... any more questions? There's a long traditional history of English beer using hedgerow ingredients, and elderberries often grow in hedgerows. So Mark Tanner, which owns this brewery, used to be the head brewer at Dark Star, and Dark Star's beer was elderflower. One of their core was an elderflower beer, and you used to get free beer for going out and picking the elderflower to make the beer. So there's a historic sort of reason to it. Huh.
Reality.
Yes.
What would you say is the defining difference between Berliner Weiss and Geuze?
Berliner Weiss is more. It's not. Well, it's a complicated one because the souring is done differently. It's generally not spontaneously fermented or wild fermented, but it can be. But normally not these days. But it's more the specific bacteria that I've completely forgotten that is added to give it that. Yeah.
So, hello. A question about the spontaneous fermentation. So
Yes.
you have a product and you're selling a certain type of beer. How do they guarantee that if it's really spontaneous fermentation, that it happens in the same repeatable, standardized way?
You can. And this is why this beer went kind of extinct around the world, but Belgium kept doing it. Because once commercial yeast, you could replicate it, but this way you couldn't. But So a lot in the 70s, 60s, a lot of breweries in Belgium went under, and a lot have come back. There's been a lot of American investment, and a lot of craft breweries, especially in England, are now making this style. But they haven't made this style in England in over 100 years. It completely was extinct until basically a decade or so ago.
Okay, just follow up and then I'll shut up. So now, do they still use this, as you said, like open window, spontaneous yeast?
Yes.
But they have standards now, and if you buy a bottle now, and if you buy it in 3 years, it's the same exact taste, isn't it?
There are ways to make sour beer. There's commercial yeast that make sour beer, and sour pastry sours, which are horrible, but no. Pastry sours and other beers are very, very trendy in craft beer. So making sour beer is very trendy, and there are very cheap ways to make sour beer, but it's different than what you get if you do it the more traditional way. But the more traditional way is very difficult and expensive compared to the more commercial way. But you get there's a lot of commercial sour beer now, because you can, as I said, get those yeast strains and everything. So it wouldn't be a seminar without an IPA. So what is an IPA? An IPA is an Indian pale ale. That is a hoppy pale ale. And it was first brewed in England in around the 19th century. These days there are many, many IPAs all around the world, such as in New England and the West Coast IPA. So before I move on to the slide, once people get this, I'm curious, because this, is definitely an experiment. So let's move on anyway. So what happens when you put 100 bitterness units, which is absolutely insane. An IBU is an international bittering unit. And this is more on the West Coast double IPA style, which is the more older style of American IPAs. So it's more like dry white wine, more bitter and stuff, whereby New England IPAs are very fruit forward and more soft and less bitter. So yeah, this is a Cool Ship IPA. And it also blends, keeping this in cider barrels as well. So this is basically a goose as an IPA. The Cool Ship is the the Cool Ship is that, yeah. So this is by Mills Brewing. This is resin because West Coast IPAs are very resiny in flavors, so it's a play on that. It's using cider barrels from Oliver's Cider, which is Tom Oliver, and he is the band manager of the Proclaimers. So that's quite a funny fact. Does anyone have any questions on this? Or yes, Dries? Yes, I think it says, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. But they are, there's Nelson Sauvignon in here. Yeah, so, which is quite unusual because that's a New Zealand hop. But that also gives it a more wine sort of characteristic. This should be quite wine-like, white wine-like, I would imagine. But but I'm not entirely sure. Yes.
I just have a question about, out of both the British one and the Belgian beer, what is the most complex brewed beer out there? With the most complex method? What would you say?
A lot more complex ways to make beer than there are coolship. And actually, we will get there at the end of the seminar.
Okay.
So that will come up. What is a turbid mash? A turbid mash is a thing. Can someone give the microphone to Matt a second? But no, turbid mash is a way of doing a mash, and a mash is when you mash in all the grain and everything together when you brew beer, and a turbid mash is a specific way of doing that, but I can't remember exactly how it is done off the top of my head. Right, so now we get to the taking the fun out of the French. Barley wine is more just because I wanted to put something in here. And as I was doing this, I thought lambics and wild ales are oftenly referred to as the wine of beers. So a barley wine is the French's fault, really. Due to the Neapolitan Wars, wine was hard to get in England, especially French wine. So English breweries made a strong ale and called it barley wine to appeal to wine drinkers. One of the first trademarks in the world was for Bass #1. People often think it was the first trademark, but it wasn't the first trademark, but it was one of the first. This is Siren Maiden, and this is, well, let's read it. Maiden is our anniversary celebration, a blend of barley wine aged in a multitude of barrels sourced from the finest wine and spirit producers worldwide. Each year's vintage is unique, so visit our website, blah, blah, blah. This year's blend is red wine 19%, rum, port, and bananas 12.5% each, bourbon 11%, brandy 10%, whiskey 8%, tequila 6.5%, and fresh maiden 8%. So this is one of the more complex ways to make beer. When you age it in a barrel, you don't exactly know what's going to come out, and even more blending it as well. So this is quite like wine in a way, or whiskey, blended whiskey as well. And I just thought it'd be interesting to end on here because, yeah, as I was making this, I just thought it'd be fun to throw something in that is traditionally English and also not traditionally English to end on FRaNKy's Belgian Beer Seminar. So that was my thinking behind this one. Any questions? Yes. Well, it's not Scottish. But any more sensible questions? No. But yeah, thank you, FRaNKy, for all the amazing beers and letting me crush your seminar. It was a lot of fun, and I hoped everyone enjoyed this. And yeah, if anyone has any more questions or FRaNKy wants to say anything. Oh, next slide. Oh, the end. Yes. End, anus. Yeah. Questions, comments, and concerns? And thank you for your cooperation. I can't hear, really. I can't really hear. Yeah. Yes, it was kind of like a dessert. Oh, I've got everyone a terrible present if they want.
Bum-be-dum, bum-bum. Yes, it works again. Hello. So, see, there's the mute button. Don't push it. Any further questions?
That's good too.
Sound panels. These are, those red things are like to prevent the sound from bouncing around in this small room. Question? All right, so what do the Swedes say? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all for attending. So sadly to say, the toilet tunnel is that way, and then you come back underground because right below here are the toilets. So you get to enjoy all of it. All right, see you all next time. Thanks, Reality, for jumping in. Thanks to Tolle, Steffes, Petre, Krakker in the back, Job for assisting as well. The awesome seminar team that lets me abuse their things every year. And yeah, don't forget to upload your entries. Thank you all. Now GTFO.